Okay, so this is a reflection film that I'm making to kind of round off my teacher inquiry on motivating illiterate students to read. What can we do as teachers to help those kids that can read but just really don't want to, have no interest in it. So I was really inspired by Dr. Stephen Lane's book, Igniting a Passion for Reading, which I read about 18 months ago, and started doing some work on that. And it was just building on the things I'd been doing for some years. And prior to that, I had really quite a strong belief that reading material that's geared towards or targeted towards students, having a really good knowledge of young person's fiction was really important, so that you could say to them, hey, here's a really good book, you should try it. So reading Dr. Lane's book built on my own experiences and approaches that I was using. And so what I've done with this film is I was really interested to see what long-term results there have been from doing the sort of approaches that I have been trialling with the Year 7 8 students, and seeing if there's any staying power in those results. Did the effects that I saw last year with my class carry on into this year when I was no longer teaching them? So I've gathered up the students that I taught last year, and they've been in new classes now for 6 months, and I've interviewed them, and here's what they had to say.
Okay, so at the start of last year, how many of you guys didn't really dig reading?
Me.
Okay, why? Banana.
It's gay. It was boring.
Boring.
Good books to
Yeah,
read.
we weren't like really.
Yeah, well,
I read primary school
Yeah,
books.
we read like
It's
picture
not
books.
fun.
We had like the little reading resources books like that you get when you
Like
go
the-
like.
Really cool. Okay, so back off task again. So who else sort of, was really like, didn't really think of themselves as a reader last year? Aaron. So why not?
Not fun.
Not fun. Okay. By the end of the year, had that changed for any of you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right, that's fine. Okay. For those of you who said no, why?
Because I just don't like reading and nobody can change it.
Okay, that's fine.
You're reading it as my book though.
I'm not reading it.
So you're pretending. Okay. For those of you who said yes, why? What was it that made you change things? Aaron.
My mum.
Your mum? Right. What was it that mum did to help you change it?
Just keep on like.
Don't read this week.
So nagging works. Okay, cool.
It's a month.
Yep.
We got like you gave us like we had like this little tasks and we had that book and we had to read it.
Oh, the flat form.
Yeah, and we kind of like you just gave us
just
books and you
introduced
like
us.
you introduced us to like better vocabulary books and like books that we kind of like
yeah, it's good.
compared to the books that we used to get given that we had to read that were like really boring.
Yeah, it's good
So-
for teachers that read as well, because like they can like read the book and say you might like this, because you might like that. Because I like reading.
Books.
So like when I would go in there and I would lay all those books out and things like that, and you have a look around. Did that help?
You can walk around and say,
found like way more interesting books instead of all the...
Okay.
And you could read like the Phoenix Files, and now like everyone's reading the Phoenix Files and enjoying them.
And the Gone series.
Yeah.
And the Gone series.
And the Gone series. Yeah. What about you guys?
You didn't
Yeah,
introduce
probably
me to
never gonna
Divergent.
change the three.
I didn't know, and I'm glad. But now, interesting. You said you didn't introduce, but you introduced me to Divergent, and I love it, and I loved Insurgent, and I'm waiting for the next book. So, are you more likely now, do you think, to share books with each other and say, "Here, check this out"?
Yeah, we actually did.
Yep,
Yeah.
you actually gave me the book and then I got bored.
Had you done that before? So was
I'd be like, read this and be like, oh, why are you giving me a book? I thought of something.
Because
People judge you
when
if
you
you
gave you like
tell
when you
people.
gave them like the Phoenix Files and stuff, I guess that's when it kind of started. Because like they're those books that everyone kind of like says like, because we kind of like have the same
Interest.
Yeah, and when you read a book and if your friend likes it, then you'd think, oh, I may as well give it a go because it could be cool.
So you learnt about that you could develop a culture of recommending to each other. That was okay. What were you going to say?
Reading on Wattpad's way better.
Ah, now that's interesting that you say that because I've got some people that really dig Wattpad. Who's never heard of Wattpad? We're back live with Room 9. Shh. So, okay, we're talking about things that maybe I did or introduced last year that maybe helped you change your attitude a bit to reading. You've talked about the sharing of books, putting all the books out, the recommending books. Were there any other things that we did? Think of the things that we did that maybe helped you with your attitude with reading. Did you like the book of the week? Did you like the picture books of the week? Okay, so the question then is, this year, has your motivation to read gone down? Yes. Why?
Because like we didn't like in class last year we had the books that we read and we always went over to the library, and this year we have to like go in our own time, and because he doesn't like recommend us books and stuff, so we like choose our own, and you get like really bored of them, and you just
stop.
There's no good books that you really like, so you just
And then you read it.
so you read like Hannah Montana books that aren't really
All right, I'm just going to come to Reese. Reese, what were you going to say, mate?
And then people just fake read because
Yeah.
they don't.
It's just
Some
so
people just
boring.
read books and
Can't
just
find
start
any good
reading.
books.
I just sit there like.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about
Oh yeah.
Rebecca? You've been pretty quiet, Rebecca.
Holy
told
yeah,
you that
but
just before.
They don't like.
She's always quiet.
The teachers don't like give you good books to read, so you really don't know.
Right. Okay. How do you guys feel about that? Has it changed for you this year?
What is a motivation to read?
It's like
What they think? Motivation to read. Would anyone want to help out the woo with that?
It's gone from like.
Can you move the camera around? I feel real weird.
Well, you are real weird, but that's okay. Motivation to read is that you don't need someone nagging you. You'll actually go and find a book. When you've finished a book, you go find another one. It is. Well, what is it then?
It's like
Hang on. Let's listen to Tyler. We're talking about what is this motivation business. So what do you think it is?
that's why I asked.
To me, motivation to read is when I finish a book, I go and find another one because I want something to read. When I see someone reading a book,
But what if you want to draw more than you want to read? So you just draw.
I don't. But that's what I'm saying. What's your motivation like to read? Do you have any?
Like to read.
So you have no motivation. So you have no motivation to read.
I'm not reading as much now. I'm just like reading the books that I've already read because I can't find any books that I want, and he's not giving us any to read.
So for you, you're feeling you need someone to be showing
I
you.
don't know any books.
6 hours.
What are you reading?
All right. Okay. Do you guys think that the stuff that I did with you last year is the sort of thing that every teacher should do?
Yep.
Who said no?
What's the difference?
Why not, Aaron? So the stuff about books you wouldn't want all teachers to
People
do.
need to write
Every-
more interesting books.
When you're older, bro.
I think the books are out there.
Just go.
But no one tells us what ones are good.
I reckon there should
Like
be a farm
you'd
book.
come along to the library with us and you'd be like, I've read this book, you would like it, or who would like this book?
But
Yeah.
yeah, tell us
We
about
go
it.
around and read it and tell us.
Thank goodness that you're all right, cool.
Like all teachers did, they'll be different because all teachers are
They're
different.
doing
Like,
Yeah.
some teachers like doing maths more than reading.
They're doing.
But do you think that all teachers should be able to talk to you about books?
Yeah.
But not maths.
Well, so when we reflect on what we've heard those guys talk about, when you go through all of the noise and chaos, I think there's a pretty clear message coming through that they actually want to read, but they want help choosing good books, and book selection appears to be critical. Well, good teachers can only make good selections and books to recommend for them if they have a good knowledge, if their own knowledge of the books is acquired through reading them and knowing the good authors and knowing how to match books to particular students. Motivation to read is clearly a crucial factor in whether or not a student is going to want to read, regardless of whether or not they can. And so the argument that we have so many illiterate readers is because they have so many other distractions, and the internet and sports and a whole bunch of other things, TV is partly true, But the reality is great literature out there. They don't really know how to find it. And until you establish a culture in your classroom of sharing great literature, and that's really got to start with the teacher. And if teachers don't have good knowledge of great literature, modern stuff that's going to appeal to kids, it just won't happen. And I think that's the most important lesson I've learned.